Hello learners, welcome to Commerce Teacher Malayalam YouTube channel. Kerala PSC റീസെൻ്റായി വിളിച്ച STO സ്റ്റേറ്റ് ടാക്സ് ഓഫീസർ, പഴയ പേര് CTO കൊമേഴ്ഷ്യൽ ടാക്സ് ഓഫീസർ റിലേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ട് 2015 നടന്നിരുന്ന 170 to 2050 കാറ്റഗറി നമ്പർ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പേപ്പറാണ് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ നോക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത് ലോ പാർട്ടിൽ നിന്ന് 30 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ആൻസർ വിത്ത് എക്സ്പ്ലനേഷൻ. പാർട്ട് 1, 2, 3 വീഡിയോസ് ലിങ്ക് മുകളിൽ ഐ ബട്ടണിൽ കൊടുക്കുന്നതാണ്. ആദ്യ വീഡിയോ കാണാത്തവർ കാണാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുക. നമുക്ക് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസിലോട്ട് കിടക്കാം. സിലബസ് ബേസ്ഡ് ഓൺ പ്രീവിയസ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പേപ്പർ 2015 കേരള PSC എക്സാം അക്കൗണ്ടൻസി ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് ലോ. അതിൽ നിന്നും ലോ പാർട്ട് 2 ലോ ആണ് ബേസ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. 30 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. നമ്മൾ ആ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ആണ് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത്. 170 to 2015 കൊമേഴ്ഷ്യൽ ടാക്സ് ഓഫീസർ കേരള PSC ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പേപ്പർ ഡിസ്കഷൻ. Important areas in law: Central Sales Tax CST Act, Kerala General Sales Act KGST Act, Kerala Value Added Tax Act 2003, Kerala Value Added Tax Act and Rules 2005, Kerala Tax on Luxuries Act 1976. These are replaced by GST. GST ആക്ട് കൂടുതലായിട്ട് എംഫസിസ് ചെയ്ത് പഠിക്കേണ്ടത് അനിവാര്യമാണ് ഈ ഒരു എക്സാമിന്. Other important laws like Kerala Agriculture Income Tax Act 1991, Kerala Money Lenders Act 1958, Kerala Revenue Recovery Act 1968. 51st question. Chairman of Central Sales Tax Authority shall be retired judges of High Court, retired judge of District Court, retired judge of Supreme Court. None of the above. Which one is correct? Correct answer is answer C, retired judge of Supreme Court. Next question. Offences under the Central Sales Tax Act are cognizable and bailable, non-cognizable and bailable, non-cognizable and non-bailable, cognizable and not bailable. Which one is correct? Correct answer is option A, cognizable and bailable. Next question is, which is the lowest court in the hierarchy of criminal court that can try the offences punishable under the Central Sales Tax Act or rules? First class Judicial Magistrate Court, second class Judicial Magistrate Court, Sections Court, High Court. Which one is correct? Correct answer is option A, first class Judicial Magistrate Court. Next question is, which of the following will come within the ambit of taxable turnover under Kerala General Sales Tax Act? Turnover of goods in the course of interstate sale, turnover of goods in the course of intrastate sale, turnover of goods in the course of export of goods outside the territory of India, turnover of goods in the course of import of goods into the territory of India. Which one is correct? The correct answer is option B, turnover of goods in the course of interstate sale. Next question. The permit issued to a registered dealer under the Kerala General Sales Tax Act is valid for the period of 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, 5 years. Which one is correct? Correct answer is answer C, 1 year. Which of the following sales tax authority is appointed to exercise the power to that of collector under the Revenue Recovery Act for recovering arrear dues under Kerala General Sales Tax Act? Chairman Settlement Commission, Sales Tax Officer, Deputy Commissioner Sales Tax, Inspecting Assistant Commissioner. The correct answer is answer D, Inspecting Assistant Commissioner. Next question is, which of the following are not goods within the meaning of Kerala Value Added Tax Act 2003? Actionable claim, electricity, stocks and shares, all of the above. Which one is correct answer? The correct answer is answer D, all of the above. Next question. Green card under Kerala Value Added Tax Act and rules was introduced by the Kerala Finance Act 2007, Kerala Finance Act 2005, Kerala Finance Act 2008, Kerala Finance Act 2006. Which one is correct? Correct answer is answer D, Kerala Finance Act 2006. Next question, the appointing authority of the Chairman of Settlement Commission under Kerala Value Added Tax Rules 2005. The options are Chief Minister of Kerala, Governor of Kerala, Kerala Justice of Kerala High Court, Board of Revenue. Which one is correct? The correct answer is answer B, Governor of Kerala. Next question, which of the following cases the Deputy Commissioner under Kerala Value Added Tax Act 2003 can exercise power of revision suo motu? If appeal time has not expired and the Deputy Commissioner feels that the order passed by the subordinate authority is prejudicial to the interest of the SSC. Next option, if appeal time has expired and the Deputy Commissioner feels that the order passed by the subordinate authority is prejudicial to the interest of the SSC. Next option, if appeal time has expired and the Deputy Commissioner feels that the order passed by his subordinate authority is prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. Next option, none of the above. Which option is correct? Correct answer is option C. If appeal time has expired and the Deputy Commissioner feels that the order passed by his subordinate authority is prejudicial to the interest of the revenue. Next question, the Chairman of the Appellate Tribunal under the Kerala Agriculture Income Tax Act 1991 must have same qualifications as that of High Court Judge, Supreme Court Judge, District Judge, Sub-Judge. Which option is correct? Correct answer is option C, District Judge. What is the effect of the death of a party between the conclusion of the final hearing and the passing of the order under the Kerala Agriculture Income Tax Rules 1991? The options are proceeding will abate once and for all and no order can be made. Proceeding will not abate and order may be passed. The proceeding will abate if the legal representative does not implead himself within 60 days of the date of the death of the party. The proceeding will abate if the legal representative does not implead himself within 30 days of the date of the death of the party. Which option is correct? The correct answer is answer B. Proceeding will not abate and order may be passed. Next question is, the application for the settlement of cases under the Kerala Agriculture Income Tax Act 1991 may be filed. Any at age stage of appeal pending before any authority under the Act, only before the return is filed, before total agriculture income is computed by the SSC for the purpose of filing return, none of the above. Which option is correct? Correct answer is option A. At any stage of appeal pending before any authority under the Act. Next question is, which of the following courts have jurisdiction to try offences punishable under the Kerala Moneylenders Act 1958? The options are Second Class Judicial Magistrate Court, Sub-Court, Municipal Court, First Class Judicial Magistrate Court. Which one is correct? The correct answer is answer D, First Class Judicial Magistrate Court. Next question is, which of the following person can apply for license without a guardian to carry on the business under the Moneylenders Act? The options are unmarried woman aged 65 years, woman aged 25 years, suffering from lunacy, unmarried woman below 18 years, none of the above. The correct answer is answer A, unmarried woman aged 65 years. Next question, which of the following proceedings under the Moneylenders Act the provision of CRPC is applicable? Summoning and enforcing attendance of the witness, compelling production of any document, search and seizure, all of the above. The correct answer is C, search and seizure. Next question is, Which of the following articles can be attached under the Kerala Revenue Recovery Act 1968? The options are ordinary wearing apparel, degree of a civil court for payment of money, wedding ring, none of the above. The correct answer is answer B. Next question is, which of the following defaulted persons cannot be arrested and detained in prison under the Kerala Revenue Recovery Act? Woman, unsound person, minor, all the above. The correct answer is answer D, all the above. Next question, the period of limitation of claiming refund under the Kerala Tax on Luxuries Act 1976 is, the options are 3 years from the date of order of the assessment, 2 years from the date of order of the assessment, 1 year from the date of order of the assessment, 6 months from the date of order of the assessment. Which option is correct? The correct answer is answer A, 3 years from the date of order of the assessment. Next question is, which of the following will come within the ambit of luxury tax under Kerala Luxury Tax Act? The options are service provided by Indian Railways by way of retiring rooms for passengers. Second option, the facilities provided in a rented Kalyana Mandapam located in the premises of the Palace of Worship and is owned by a religious institution. Next option, service provided by DTH broadcasting service provider to a subscriber. Next option, all of the above. The correct answer is which one? Luxury tax is a tax placed on goods considered expensive, unnecessary and non-essential. Such goods include expensive cars, private jets, yachts, jewelry, etc. Luxury tax is an indirect tax that increases the price of the good or service and is only incurred by those who purchase or use the product. Luxury tax is also replaced by GST Act. GST Act നമ്മൾ ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയി നോക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. വരുന്ന വീഡിയോസ് റിലേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ട് GST അപ്ലോഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നതായിരിക്കും. So the correct answer is answer C, service provided by DTH broadcasting service provider to a subscriber. Next question is, which of the statement is not true with respect to condition? It is a stipulation essential to the main purpose of the contract. Next option is, it is a stipulation collateral to the main purpose of the contract. Third option, breach of condition will give rise to treat the contract as repudiated. Next option, breach of condition give rise to the right to reject the goods. The correct answer is answer B, the stipulation collateral to the main purpose of the contract not true with respect to condition. The condition is, a condition is an act or event other than a lapse of time that affects a duty to render a promised performance that is specified in a contract. A condition may be viewed as a qualification placed upon a promise. A promise or duty is absolute or unconditional when it does not depend on any external events. Next question, right exercised by a seller to retain the possession of goods until the trend of price or payment of price by the buyer is called pledge, lien, mortgage, hypothecation. Right of lien. Lien is the right to retain possession of goods and refuse to deliver them to the buyer until the price due in respect of them is paid or tendered. An unpaid seller in possession of goods sold is entitled to exercise his lien on the goods in the following cases: where the goods have been sold without any stipulation as to credit, where the goods have been sold on credit but the terms of credit has expired, where the buyer has become insolvent even though the period of credit may not have yet expired. The correct answer for this question is answer B, lien. Next question is, which of the following statements are true The statements are: first statement, a minor cannot be a partner. Second, a minor may be admitted to the benefit of a partnership. Third, a minor admitted to the benefit of a partnership cannot inspect the accounts of firm. Also, the options are given. Just find out the correct answer. The various kinds of partners are: there are maybe different kinds of partners in a partnership firm. The important classification of partners is given below. Active partners, sleeping partner, nominal partner, partner in profits only, senior partner, junior partner, secret partner, also the minor partner. The position and the rights of minor according to section 13. A minor cannot become a partner in the firm. A minor can be admitted to the benefit of the firm. A minor can inspect the books of accounts. A minor is entitled to his agreed share of profit. Status of minors cannot become a partner in any firm as incompetent to enter into a valid contract with others. Can be admitted to the benefits of a partnership firm with the mutual consent of all other partners. Liability is limited to the extent of capital contributed by him, not eligible to take part in active management. When he attains majority, he decides whether he would like to become a partner in the firm. And also, minor as a partner, generally minor cannot be a partner, but it is a partner is there. His or her son or daughters can be partner of the business. They can enjoy the facilities and profit, but as they are minors, they do not need to bear the responsibilities of the business. The correct answer for that question is answer A, only 1 and 2. Next question is: which of the following statement is not true with respect to limited liability partnership LLP? The options are: first option, limited liability partnership is a legal entity separate from that of its partners. Second option, limited liability partnership shall have perpetual succession. Third option, any change in the partners of a LLP shall not affect the existence, rights or liabilities of a LLP. Last option, the provision of Indian Partnership Act 1932 shall generally apply to LLP. The question is not true with respect to LLP. Which option is correct? The salient features or characteristics of LLP. LLP separate legal entity from the partners. Minimum of 2 partners requires. There must be at least 2 designated partners in every LLP of whom one shall be resident in India. No requirement as to minimum capital contribution. Available to use by any enterprise. Perpetual succession. Mergers and acquisition of LLP may take place, winding up either voluntary or by tribunal to be established under the Companies Act 1956. The LLP Act 2008 enables the central government apply the provision of the Companies Act, but whenever appropriate must issue notification to that effect provided. The LLP major new form of legal business entity with limited liability, alternative corporate business vehicle, allow the partners of flexibility of organizing their internal structure. Liability of the partners will be limited. LLP itself will be liable for the full extent of its asset. These are all the features of LLP. The advantages of LLP are: it is a separate legal entity in an LLP where a partner is not liable for all losses of the company. The partner of the LLP have the right to manage the business directly. Post incorporation, an LLP can have limitless partners. If there is only one partner in an LLP, then the sole partner can find a new one without dissolution. An NLP can raise funds from partners, banks and NBFCs. The correct answer for the question is answer D. The provision of Indian Partnership Act 1932 shall generally apply to LLP. Is not true with respect to LLP. Next question. A advertise that he has got stock of books to sell. It amounts to, the options are offer, acceptance, sale, invitation to treat. The correct answer is answer D, invitation to treat. Next question is, the rule that a stranger to contract cannot sue refers to privity of contract, quasi-contract, consideration, tender. The correct answer is answer A, privity of contract. Privity of contract is a doctrine which means stranger to a contract. It means that the person who is not a party to the contract cannot sue for carrying out the promise made by the parties to the contract. No other person can acquire a right or incur liabilities under it. It is also related with that statement, exception to the rule, stranger to a contract cannot sue. A trust or chain. A person called beneficiary in whose favor a trust or other interest is created can enforce it even though he is not a party to the contract. So, the rule that a stranger to contract cannot sue refers to privity of contract. Next question, the agreement, the consent of which is caused by undue influence is, the options are valid, void, voidable, none of the above. Free consent. Meaning of free consent is according to section 14. A consent is said to be free when it is not caused by coercion as defined in section 15, undue influence section 16, fraud as defined in section 17, misrepresentation as defined in section 18, mistake section 20, 21, 22. This is also related with the undue influence. The correct answer is answer C, voidable. Next question is, a person employed by and acting under the control of the original agent in the business of agency is called, the options are factor, sub-agent, del creditor agent, substituted agent. Which option is correct? Section 191 in the Indian Contract Act 1872. A sub-agent is a person employed by and acting under the control of the original agent in the business of the agency. A sub-agent is a person employed by and acting under the control of the original agent in the business of the agency. The correct answer is answer B, sub-agent. Next question, a gratuitous bailment is terminated by, the options are the death of the bailer only, the death of the bailee only, death of either of the bailee or bailer. Next on last option, it is not terminated by the death of the parties. Bailment is the delivery of the goods by one person to another for some purpose upon a contract that they shall, when the purpose is accomplished, be returned or otherwise disposed of according to the direction of the person delivering them. Bailer means the person delivering the goods. Bailee means the person whom they are delivered. At the time termination of bailment, on the expiry of the stipulated period, on the accomplishment of the specified purpose, the bailees act inconsistent with conditions according to section 153, termination of gratuitous bailment section 159, section 162. There are various classifications of bailment. Bailment may be classified into two major categories: gratuitous bailment, non-gratuitous bailment, or bailment for reward. Gratuitous bailment means a bailee holds the bailer's property and expects nothing in return. Could be for the sole benefit of the bailer, could be for the sole benefit of the bailee. When a gratuitous bailment is terminated by the death either of the bailer or of the bailee. So the correct answer is option C, death of either of the bailer or bailee. Next question. Next and last question. B is indebted to C and A is the surety for the debt. C demands payment from A and on his refusal sues him for a amount, though A defended the suit as he has reasonable grounds for doing so. He has compelled to pay the debt with cost. Whether A can recover from B the amount paid by him for cost together with the principal debt. The options are no, A can only recover the principal debt as per the Contract Act. Next option is A is entitled to recover from B whatever sum he has rightfully paid under the guarantee. Next option, no, A has no right to claim the sum he has paid wrongfully under the guarantee. Last option, none of the above. Which option is correct? The correct answer is section 145 in the Indian Contract Act 1872. B is indebted to C and A is surety for the debt. C demands payment from A and on his refusal sues him for the amount. A defends the suit having reasonable grounds for doing so, but he is compelled to pay the amount of debt with the cost. Correct answer is option answer B. So these are the questions from law. We have discussed 80 questions from this question paper. Please subscribe our channel, like, share, subscribe and comment. Thank you all.